What's up, everybody? Good morning. This is TJ McClellan, broker of Fitness Realty here. Just kidding. My wife made a comment. I guess I say here after that every time. So just making it fun. Anyway, this video is going to be the addenda to, I guess, all inclusive of every document that's in the templates. So this video may get a little long. They are going to be listed alphabetically. So if you are looking for a specific form that you want to go over, fast forward in the video to whatever letter we might be on, and hopefully that will help you see what's in there. The main goal of this video is to go over every template that is in the .loop system currently. I won't go line by line because that video would probably take 25 hours. What we're going to do is I'm going to just talk about kind of situations I think that might have those things involved in a transaction, and maybe just kind of touch base on it, and then we'll move on from each form. Let me see if there's a way I can make this larger. No. Okay. Well, we're going to do our best. So first off, the 1031 tax exchange addendum. If you haven't done a 1031 tax exchange, that is typically when an investor has a piece of property that they want to sell and they want to roll it into a new piece of property so that they don't have to pay any taxes on their capital gains. Typically, if you have somebody that's lived in the residence for 2 out of the last 5 years, they have that tax protection. Usually $250 per person up to $500,000. I think that might get adjusted for inflation one day, but right now it's not looking at getting adjusted. So the 1031 tax exchange addendum just lets everybody know that the seller is looking to do a 1031, and they're gonna just not pay taxes on it. It actually doesn't change much in the transaction other than a few timing things, but pretty much it's the same. All right, acknowledgement of third-party approval. When we start to see short sales again, maybe that's in 4 years or something, who knows. But when we see those, that third-party approval is the bank's approval of whatever purchase price that you guys are determining from seller to buyer or buyer to seller. And so, like I said, when we see short sales and foreclosures, we'll see more of those, and they'll become necessary. The addendum UREC, you guys know that one. That's the blank addendum. We use that all the time, and we fill that out with whatever verbiage we want to use. Hopefully we're not practicing being lawyers, but sometimes we write some pretty unique stuff in there. All right, addendum to exclusive buyer-broker agreement. Of course, if you have your buyer-broker agreement and you had to write in some type of addendum to that, that's the form you would use. Addendum to exclusive buyer-broker agreement for sub-agency. We typically don't have any sub-agency status. We usually do designated status, so I've never actually used this before. Let's see, addendum to exclusive right to sell list agreement. So, of course, you just changing your listing agreement. So if you ever have anything that you're like, well, the sellers want to change their let's say BAC structure, that might be a thing you might need to amend in there. Exclusive right to sell listing agreement, agency lease opt-out, or lease opt, or option, excuse me. So I've never used this one either. We haven't really done any like lease option stuff. Typically we're just in the retail business, pretty much just letting people get their next residence, or helping to find their next home, or getting them out of whatever home they're in right now. Lease options get a little sketchy, so if you go down that road, we can definitely talk about it. All right, here's that short sale, or an addendum to the exclusive right to sell listing agreement for short sale. We may see those short sales, I guess, here in the future, but like I said, right now, nobody's in a short sale, or like 0.01% of the populace is in a short sale, maybe. All right, addendum to lease agreement with option for purchase. Like I said, we don't do too many lease options, but if you start doing lease options or you're interested in that program, I can walk you through a little bit of it. I've had a couple clients that have come to me before that looked like they were going to be investors, and they really started like trying to flesh out what it looks like to get a lease option. At the end of the day, the seller makes really good money for a lease option, and the buyer usually gets pretty hosed. So it's sometimes easier to lean your buyer into something that's not a lease option. And an addendum to the listing agreement for subagency. Like I said, I've never done any subagency stuff, so if we go down that road, I wouldn't even know how to explain that really. I mean, broker school teaches about subagency, and so does the regular Stringham school for pre-licensing, but we just don't use that very often. So I'd have to get churched up on it. not lying there. I won't. I'll be the first one to admit I don't know a lot about subagency. All right, non-exclusive buyer broker agreement for subagency again. Let's skip that. Addendum to the real estate purchase contract for multiple offers. So we do have a lot of multiple offer scenarios out there right now. A lot of people do like this addendum where they can send it and it notifies everybody of multiple offers. I tend to never send that form out. It's just extra paperwork that you don't need. And number two, I just like texting everybody and saying, hey, we're going to be in multiple offers. Like, don't even mess around with sending your first offer. Just send the best. All right, addendum to seller's property condition disclosure. If you do have a property condition, let's say you list a property and halfway through that property or that listed property, the foundation like cracks and falls off or something, and you have to amend your property condition disclosure. That's what you'd use this for. I have seen people write it in the blank space on page like 8. I think it's 8 as an amendment. That's not the proper way to do it, but it is a way to do it. It's not a great way. Addendum counteroffer to purchase agreement. I'm not really sure what CCIM Utah is, so let's see that. It might be commercial actually. Yeah, commercial real estate. All right, so if you're in commercial, of course you'd use this addendum. So there's not a lot of commercial deals that we're doing, but we are doing some of them. So if you're looking at doing commercial, then get familiar with the forms you're going to use. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Okay, agency disclosure. I don't think I've ever used that one either. Let's check that out. Okay, I don't know if we'll ever be mandated to use this, but it's just a disclosure form, not a contract, determining who you represent, I guess. I feel like the buyer broker agreements and sellers or the listing agreement do a good job of that. And also the Rep C, and maybe that's why nobody uses this form anymore. The Rep C has that big giant block in it with everybody's name and license number. So maybe that's the reason why they don't harp on this agency disclosure much anymore. Let's see. Disclosure for buyer, tenant, unrepresented party. Typically, I don't like using any unrepresented party forms. I just like to represent them so that they know I'm working for them and that they know they have protection. A survey addendum, CCIM, that's that commercial property stuff again. I won't go too much into that. Appraisal addendum to real estate purchase contract. Let's check that out. That sounds like something we would need. Okay. So there is a form for an over-appraisal clause. I think I actually have seen this before, but we've just been writing our own appraisal clauses in there. But look at that. They got a new one. I wonder when this was loaded. I wish it said loaded on such and such date, because I'm sure this thing came around because of the necessity of our crazy market right now. Sorry, this video might get a little long and then I'm going to have a cracky voice. Whoops. All right. Assignment and assumption of real estate purchase contract for new construction. I've never used this form. Typically we never have any assumption of portions of a real estate purchase contract. Especially in new construction, it would seem like the builder would not want anything to do with assignments or assumptions. So if you get down where you need something that looks like that, let me know and we'll work it out together. Assignment of interest addendum in real estate purchase contract. I have seen some companies that are trying to buy a property in an LLC and then they're assigning that interest of the LLC in the purchase contract. That it gets a little mucky with how the addendums and stuff work. So if you are going to try to purchase property that way, let me know before you do that, or with your clients, and we can work through that. And an assumption addendum. Like I said, we don't typically use any assumptions. Let's take a look at this. So if you had somebody that was going to assume an existing loan, then you may be able to use this. I would say probably at least 90% of the loans out there, if not more, and almost every new loan in like the last year, let's say, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 years now, they have nowhere that you can do an assumption on it. Or not all, but they typically have a line in there that's called a due on sale clause. And the second you sell the property or change title or change who the owner is, then the loan becomes due. So I haven't seen too many assumptions. You can actually look up in the MLS and all the way down in financing or terms, whatever the box is called, for like checking FHA, VA, stuff like that. There are some simple assumptions and something else assumption. And you could check that out. And some properties have that listed still. So somebody's out there like figuring out how to do that. I don't have a lot of history doing that or experience. Assumption of financing addendum for commercial. If this was for regular, maybe this fits that same kind of thing, but something that I think we will see if loans do have assumption qualities, since people refied not too long ago and got these ridiculous rates that are like 2.25 or sub 2. I did see some VA loans that were sub 2. Somebody will want those loans, and so there will be there will always be somebody looking to try to make some money on that back end side. So maybe we'll see some more of those types of things. So backup addendum notice of primary contract. So you can get backup offers, of course. So you guys, you list a property, you get multiple offers, you select the best, and then you go to the second best and say, hey, do you want to be in the backup? That's just saying you're telling that person that they're going to be the backup offer if they want to. And then this addendum has a couple of stipulations in it where they sign, they know that they're in backup status, and then if the primary one fails, you tell the backup addendum, and then the dates start to align from that notice of being moved from backup to primary. All right, we're already at 13 minutes, and we're only in the B's, so I apologize. This video is going to be probably stinking long, but I will do my best to get through it as quickly as possible. All right, buyer's due diligence checklist. You guys know that's part of the normal forms. Just hand that to your clients so they can know what to inspect in their transaction. You don't have to tell them like which ones, just give them it for information. Buyer's financial information sheet. I've never seen this before. Maybe this is like okay, I don't know. I've never this seems like something you would just hand to the lender and say good luck. Maybe if you were doing seller financing or something, you would use this. What do you guys think? Maybe write it down in the comments or text me. What do you think about the buyer financial information sheet? All right, buyer's notice of cancellation. You guys are probably going to get used to using that. The way we rapidly try to put REPCs together and get them accepted, sometimes it's not the perfect house. Or in due diligence, we find out that there's a crack in the foundation or mold or something, and then we have to cancel the contract. That's the one you want to use. Buyer's notice of offer withdrawal. So if you're out there writing REPCs without drop dead deadlines, this notice of offer to withdraw is what you need to send, let's say 3 or 4 days later, if your clients don't want that contract to be out there. Or if you use a drop dead deadline of 3 days or something, then you can use this, then you can just use the drop dead deadline. If you do send out a contract and it's 3 days of drop dead deadline and your clients are like, whoa, we don't even want to send that out after day 1, that's when you can send this one too and rescind that contract. Buyer's notice to seller of removal of conditions, time clause notice. So this is how we say when you have an active listing and you coach your clients, which I don't like doing, to do a time clause, which just means you're actively listing the property still with a contract you guys already have, but you're searching for new backup offers or new offers, the time clause makes it so that if you get another offer that you think you want to accept, you tell the primary contract to remove their conditions, and then this buyer can send in their notice to remove all those conditions, or that they've done so. Typically, I don't even use that. Just to be honest, I usually just tell the agent, like, hey, we're good to go, and we can remove them in writing, usually a blank addendum if we're that far along. You know, that's something fun about this career. Every transaction is really different. So just put all these pieces of information in your toolbox or your tool belt or whatever you want to call it, because you never know when you might need it in a contract that you had no clue you were going to do. Okay, buyer's notice to seller of termination of buyer's third-party contract. Let's see. Subject to sale of buyer's property addendum. Okay. Holy crap. Let's take a look at that. I've never seen such a long title. Termination. Okay, this is a buyer's notice to seller. So buyer sending the form to the seller. Termination of buyer's third-party contract. Let's see. I don't know what you would be using that for. What do you guys think about that? I've never even seen an issue where I needed a third-party cancellation contract. Anyway, I guess it's out there. Let me know what your thoughts are on what that is. All right, cancellation, termination of the exclusive buyer broker agreement. Your clients are fed up with you or something, just release them. Or you get to the middle of the term and they're like, or you decide that you've shown them too many homes and they're not worth working for anymore, or you find out that they're looking for a specific type of home and we don't even have that in Utah, something like that. You can cancel that. Same thing here for the listing agreement, so just on the listing side. Closing costs addendum. We have used this one quite frequently. Sellers to contribute closing costs. We don't typically do that anymore. This market has really made it competitive, so we're not really getting buyers' closing costs paid for by the seller right now. But that form is there and it is built really well, so go ahead and use that. Commercial real estate purchase contract, self-explanatory. Confirmation of receipt of earnest money. You guys know that you can sign that and fill it out once you've dumped that money into the trust account. A little plug here. Every time you put money in the trust account, please send me a text that says how much you put in, who your client is, and I think that's it. And then I can make sure that I'm tracking it on the earnest money calculator. If you don't send me a message and I just don't know who it is and I never figure it out, when you get your check at the end of the transaction, it'll be minus whatever that earnest money was, and you'll probably be a little upset. And then you'll tell me what it was. So without running into problems and accounting issues, just text me who it is. All right, contingency cancellations. If you have a subject to sell or something, you can cancel there. COVID-19 addendum. We brought this on. I think that we'll probably stop using this here. I don't know, probably pretty soon. I feel like this was an overreach of what we needed in contracts for things that are already protected in a contract, but that's just my personal opinion. Deposit of earnest money with title insurance companies. So there are some real estate brokers that do not want any liability with earnest money. I feel like those brokers aren't really doing their job, but that's just my soapbox again, so I apologize for that. But they will have a form that they want to deposit the earnest money into a title company, but you have to tell everybody that you're going to do that. And the sellers and buyers both have to agree that they want that to happen. The reason why I like to control the earnest money is that way we do have control and oversight over it, so that it's not in a third party's hands that has no clue about how to do real estate stuff. All right, disclosure of interest addendum. I think I've done a full-length video about this one. So if you are licensed in the state of Utah, all of you are licensed in the state of Utah. That's not the way I'm saying it. If you are related to somebody and you're going to represent them, that's where you need this disclosure of interest form. So when in doubt, just disclose that it's your cousin or friend or whatever. Maybe friend, that you don't need to disclose that, but sorry, I kind of like derailed. Anyway, if it's like my cousin, third cousin removed or whatever, I mean, I usually just throw it out there because nobody really cares. The one that really matters here is when you're representing yourself and you don't disclose that you're a licensed agent. That's the one that can get you into a lot of trouble, because the Board of Realtors will determine that you are a professional and you didn't tell the other side, and you'll get hammered down for it. All right, document receipt for real estate purchase contract. I've never used this a day in my life. I just email the contract to somebody. I've never had anybody say, oh, I've never received that, so I never signed it. That just doesn't happen, especially that you're tracking it in .loop. Once they sign it, they've seen it, and they can download a copy anytime. Exclusive buyer broker agreement, agency disclosure. Here's that sub-agency stuff. I'm going to skip that. Like I said, I just don't do a lot of that. Here's the buyer broker agreement. You guys use it all the time. Here's a residential lease. I guess our property management side is kind of doing that, but we use different forms. Sub-agency, we don't need. And here's your right to sell listing agreement. So you guys are using that all the time. FHA VA loan addendum. The portion of you that are members of the Guard or active duty or whatever that we've hired, you guys know we're using this VA loan addendum all the time. And then everybody that's representing kind of fresh home buyers, not even first-time home buyers, because FHA doesn't mean first-time home buyer. It just means a federally backed loan. So just Federal Housing Administration. There's a whole video on FHA VA addendum though, so I'm not going to get into that. Financing and appraisal contingency addendum. Let's check that out because I'm not really sure what you would need an additional addendum for that because it's already a portion of the contract. Oh, okay. It's the commercial one. I guess I should have hovered over CCIM again. Whoops. That's my bad. FIRPTA. I love saying that word. FIRPTA means foreign international something person. I forgot what it's called. My bad. Foreign investment in real... Oh, I guess it doesn't have anything to do with person. My bad. Foreign Investment in Real Property Tax Act. It just means if you're a foreign person or not paying taxes here in America, Title has to withhold some of the funds for you to get those funds. Whoa, we're going to have to hurry because I have an appointment. Flexible settlement deadline. Love that one. Sometimes you need like a 14-day flex settlement deadline, depending on like, ooh, I was going to sneeze. Depending on when your funds are going to come for your seller. For sell by owner commission agreement, there are a lot of for sale by owners, but it seems like most of them are getting coached that they need to pay a buyer's agent. So sometimes you don't need this, but if you did need to say, hey, will you throw in 3% for me or whatever, this is the form to do so. FSBO commission agreement, some more for sale by owner. Oh, this is an addendum to that. So use this one. Then if you need to amend it, here's that one. How to complete the assignment and assumption of Rep C in new construction. Like I said, new construction has all their own forms. They learned that our forms aren't what they want, so they wrote all their own. I doubt you'll ever need this. How to complete the simultaneously closing addendum. Let's take a look at that. Okay, this just gives you a how to get it done. If you need help doing a simultaneous closing, let me know. We do that all the time. I can't believe there's a form for that. This is some really funny information. So, note to self, so these forms change quite rapidly. You should always come in and learn some stuff. Figure out what's in here. Interest-bearing deposit addendum and real estate purchase contract. Our trust account is not interest-bearing, so you'll never need to use that form, and I never want to make money on people's earnest money just sitting there collecting dust. It creates a lot of headache, so know that you'll never need to use that form from me. You may see it if you have to put money into a trust account. If the seller requires it at their company, that might be something that we might see. Inventory list of personal property. So if you're selling a home and there's a ton of personal property, use this list. Hopefully you won't have any loans against it because the bank won't love that. Lead-based paint addendum to the Rep C. This is the paint disclosure form to the Rep C. Sorry, not to the Rep C, just a disclosure form. I like the paint disclosure form. It keeps it out of the contract. But if you needed it in the contract, you could use the other addendum for it. All right, lease agreement with the option for purchase. Like I said, these don't go well for buyers. I would be very cautious putting your buyer into one of these. Let's see. And then I guess more lease with option. Let's see. Limited agency consent agreement. I have a whole video about that. When you're on both sides, you need both parties to sign this. They don't have to sign the exact same one. They just need to sign a version of it to understand that they are letting you step into kind of a mediator role instead of a fiduciary role. Multiple offers disclosure. This is that form I said that some people send it out and disclose they have multiple offers. Like I said, I just text everybody. It's not new news that we're in a highly competitive buyer's market. Sorry. That's not good. We're in a highly competitive market right now, and everybody knows we're getting multiple offers. So this is not a thing you need, I think. New construction Rep C, like I said, if you go to new construction, most likely you won't use this. They have their own forms. We did have a agent that they had a builder that wasn't using a standardized builder form, so they did use one of these, and it went pretty good. The builder was kind of junk, but it did end up beneficial for everybody. Non-exclusive buyer-broker agreement. Let's see. I've never had a non-exclusive buyer-broker agreement, so if you want to use non-exclusive, let me know. We'll walk through that together. I've never needed that or even looked at it. Offer to purchase commercial or multifamily property. This is another commercial form. You can use the regular Rep C for single family, duplex, mother-in-law, triplex, or quadplex. All of those fit regular Rep C. They're considered multifamily, but they're not in a commercial capacity. Here's that time clause addendum. Like I said, I never use that thing. I hate it. If you did have sellers, though, that were like, hey, we want to keep our house active and continue marketing it, this is what you'd have to put in a Rep C on your primary contract to let them know that you're going to still actively market it. Park City Landscape. Well, I don't even work Park City. Let's skip that. Personal property transfer bill of sale. Like I said, if you're selling something that's fully furnished, use some type of bill of sale or a tracker or a list or whatever. Here's a counter offer to that. Here's an instruction sheet. So similar to that other form that has instructions. That's nice. Commercial purchase and sale agreement. We won't get into that. Real estate brokerage commissions, escrow instructions. I have had an escrow company use a form similar to this. Typically, you don't need any escrow instructions. Everybody knows what's happening. You can send the escrow company our wiring information, and they should know what to do from there. Brokerage payment addendum. I don't think I've ever used that either. Pretty much if it's a standard deal, I can walk you through how the commission works. So let's not worry about that. In the sake of time, I'm trying to speed up so that we can finish and I can go to my appointment. So I apologize for that if I'm hurrying through, but we're skipping the ones that you probably will never use anyways. Real estate purchase contract, we'll never use that. Just forget about it. Just kidding. I keep looking over here. This is where my monitor is so I can see my face. I shouldn't look over there. Anyway, there's a whole video about real estate purchase contract. You guys know you're going to use it. I was just being silly for being silly. Real estate purchase contract for land. Some people will use this if you have clients that are looking for land, but land is a lot harder to finance, and so there's a lot less buyers for land directly. So if you get into a situation where you have a client that's looking for land, let me know. All right, referral agreement. Oh my gosh, they have a standardized referral agreement. Well, look at that. Okay, I'm putting that in my memory banks. I have one written for my referrals when I send them to other people across the country. That would be nice to use a standardized one, though. So, note to self. That's nice to have in there. Booyah, Knowledge Bomb, referral agreement. That's cool. That's something I didn't even know was in there. Reinstatement of a Rep C addendum. Let's say you have an addendum that drops dead or falls off, or you guys want to reinstate. Here's a form to do that. In my opinion, you don't even need to do that. You just write a blank addendum, write what you want on it, and get the contract going again. Residential lease, like I said, our property management side does that, and we use totally different forms, so don't use that. Homeowners Association information. It seems like title and lenders are getting really good working together to pull that information, so maybe we don't need that. Residential rental agreement, like I said, we use different forms on the property management side. You won't need that one. Resolution of due diligence form, there is a video all about that one. I love that form. It has some teeth in it to protect your client, so just check that video out. Earnest money dispute. We've never had any earnest money disputes, knock on wood, as of yet. And so I haven't needed to use this form. Secondary backup contract. Holy crap. I guess you could have, this would be the third backup. So you'd have primary and a backup and a secondary backup. Ooh, that's a lot of work. I guess maybe if they're leaning it towards short sale, I could see that, because short sales will tend to have like 3 or 4 or 5 people in a row looking to get the property and all have contracts in, and the bank's trying to select whatever they want. Seller financing for commercial. Here's that CCIM again. Seller financing for regular Rep C contract. Typically, if you have a client that's going down seller financing road, they know what they're looking for and they know how to get that done. I can coach you through seller financing, but typically for buyers, it's really bad. But I can show you some things if you'd want to see those. Seller's notice of cancellation of the REPC. Of course, that's just seller saying, hey, we want to cancel the REPC. This has major repercussions with earnest money, so before you do that, make sure you understand what you're signing, or understand what you're having your client sign. Seller's notice of offer to withdraw. If we ever swing back to the other side and it's a seller's market, sometimes sellers will have offers they put out to buyers that maybe come and see the home. You could have a withdrawal of that offer. Notice, went too far. Seller's notice to buyers of accepted offer, multiple offers addendum. This was just crazy stuff. Like, you don't have to notify the buyer that you accepted an offer. Just tell the agent. Another time clause notice. Like I said, there's a lot of fluffy things that agents do to look busy to their sellers and or buyers. If you like the fluffy stuff, just let me know. We can try to work through that and make it part of your tool belt. But in my opinion, all these addendums for like multiple offers or time clause are a huge waste of time. Especially in a seller's market. Like, you can actively market it, but if you lose your first primary contract in week 1, you put it back up on the weekend and have multiple offers again. You know, it's not like they walk away. The buyers don't disappear. It's not that hard. Notice to buyer of substantial completion, new construction. Like I said, they're using their own forms. Notice to buyers of multiple offers. Skip that, like I said. Seller's property condition disclosure, huge. Make sure your clients properly fill that out. However, that form has lost a lot of flavor, in my opinion. Just do your best to have your clients fill it out as best as they can. Commercial, same form. Here's the land side for the same property disclosures. Short sale addendum, like I said, we're not seeing those as of yet. Maybe 2 years from now, who knows? If we downtrend or we downturn, I'm going to make a video about short sales, foreclosures, and stuff like that. It'll be a training all on its own. Right now, we don't need that. All right, simultaneous closing. Typically, you don't need this addendum in your REPC to let everybody know how we're going to do a simultaneous closing. Everybody that has, or everybody that has an experienced broker or has experience themselves knows how to get the simultaneous closing completed. So this looks like added fluff to me. Something to note here though is if you guys see something and you're like, wow, I've seen a time where that would have been really beneficial, let me know, and then I can make a new training video that kind of addresses that. But as of right now, I just don't have any real world experience where it was like, man, that would have been really massive to help out for my clients. Single party compensation agreement. Like I said, I just like the buyer broker agreement and the listing agreement. I stick to the basics because it works. Solar addendum. If you have solar panels on a home, make sure you use some version of this. Identify who owns the panels, who's going to start paying for them if they're actually turned over to the home or the buyer. I have seen in the past where the brackets attached to the house are the actual thing affixed to the home, and they take the solar panels with them and leave the brackets, kind of like a TV bracket. Same principle. Be very clear what you do with solar panels. Subject to sale of buyer's residence addendum. So this is if you're sending in an offer and your buyers need to sell their home, that's the form you use. Subject to seller securing replacement property. So this is your seller has nowhere to go yet. Use this addendum to let everybody know we have time to go and find new house. Survey addendum. I have not had a survey done on a residential property yet. Knock on wood. I mean, here in Utah, I haven't. In North Carolina, that was different. But Utah seems to be a lot better than North Carolina in property lines. Don't ask my mom that. Yeah, anyway. I don't want to derail. Ask my mom about property lines. Third-party approval of the property addendum to real estate purchase contract. Here's that third-party approval. If we start seeing short sales, like I said, we'll see more of that. There is an instance that just popped into my head that you may see that. If you remember back in your class and you had life estates and things like that based on somebody else's life and based on somebody else that may need approval to sell the property, I guess you could see some of that. I feel like that's going to be so rare. All of the transactions that we've done up to this day, April 15th, I have never seen a life estate. So they talk about it in real estate class and you learn about it, but I've never seen one. All right, third-party approval of the REPC addendum to purchase contract. Like I said, maybe we'll see more of that. Short sales or life estates. If you ever see one, let me know. Transaction documents receipt. Like I said, just email them. I guess in today's society, there's a lot of email traffic, so there's already a lot of documentation that they're receiving everything. Listing side, same form. UAR Legal Resource Center. I don't even know what that is. Let's take a peek. Legal Resource Center. Oh, it's just a guide from it looks like the division. Oh no, this is from the Board of Realtors. So it just has I guess an information sheet all about the legal hotline and everything that the board provides. So that's kind of nice. Look at that. Business, tax, and estate planning sessions. May have to look into that. Another tidbit I did not know. So legal resources in there. I know they had the hotline, the legal hotline. I've called that before. All right, understanding short sales. Maybe this would be good to learn and freshen up. Maybe 2 years from now or 4 years from now. Unrepresented buyer disclosure. If you're listing a property and you have an unrepresented buyer come in, they can represent themselves. That's fine. You may want this disclosure so that they understand that you don't represent them at all. Because there is, I forgot the term right now off the top of my head. It's not floating in, where they can think that you're representing them, and maybe write down in the comments what that word is. I can't remember what that is. Like, it's not there. Anyway, if you guys find out what that is, let me know. And then the wire fraud alert disclosure. You guys know that there's a lot of wire fraud on the rise. Please use this disclosure to let everybody know. Do not send any money unless you know absolutely without a doubt that you know where it's going. Okay, this has been a fun video. I apologize for it being 42 minutes long, but I wanted to get all of this information out. Please scroll through to the forms that you think you need. And this has been another training video. I'm TJ McClellan, broker of Fitness Realty. I love you guys. I think the company is just growing like crazy. We are growing like crazy. I really want to continue to help you guys promote your business and help you make more money this year. So let me know how I can do that better. All right. See you guys.